I'm on the balcony of Richard's condo, wearing his shirt and nothing else, when my phone buzzes on the glass table. The notification is a calendar reminder I set 3 months ago. Mateo's citizenship ceremony, 10 a.m., USCIS field office. I look at the time, 10:47 a.m. My stomach drops in a way that's become familiar over the past year. That specific sensation when you know you've done something you can't take back. I can see the federal building from here if I squint. Somewhere in that gray concrete structure, Mateo is probably walking out right now with his certificate, scanning the crowd for me. Richard comes out with coffee. "You look stressed," he says, handing me a cup. "He's a citizen now," I say. The words feel strange in my mouth. Does that mean I can divorce him? Richard laughs. Actually laughs. Technically, yes. My bill is paid, and he's legal. We're clear. Clear. Like it's that simple. Like the last 10 years of Mateo's life. The last 3 years of our marriage. The $25,000 he scraped together, working double shifts. Like all of it was just paperwork to be filed away. I pick up my phone and text, "Stuck at work. So sorry. Send pics." 3 dots appear immediately. Then a selfie. Mateo in his new suit, holding his certificate, an American flag in his other hand. His eyes are red. He's been crying. In the background, I can see other new citizens with their families. Everyone hugging, everyone celebrating. There's an empty chair next to where he's standing. My chair. "Everything okay?" Richard asks. I tell him yes. I tell myself yes. I take a sip of coffee and watch the boats in the marina below, and I try not to think about the fact that this is who I am now. The woman who missed her husband's citizenship ceremony because she was fucking his lawyer. But let me start from the beginning. Let me tell you how I became this person. I met Mateo 7 years ago at a friend's barbecue in Kendall. He was the guy everyone liked. Funny, smart, helped set up without being asked. When I complimented the music, he spent 20 minutes explaining the history of regional Mexican genres, his hands moving as he talked, his whole face lighting up. "You really love this stuff," I said. "It's where I'm from," he said simply. Then quieter, "It's all I have left of it." That's when he told me. DACA recipient, brought here at 8 years old. Hasn't been back to Mexico in 21 years because leaving means never coming back. Can't travel, can't vote, can't feel safe. Every 2 years, reapplying, waiting, hoping the program doesn't end. I fell in love with him that night. Or I thought I did. Now I wonder if I fell in love with the idea of him, the story of him, the tragedy of him. Mateo was everything I thought I wanted. Hardworking. He'd put himself through community college, then Florida International, now worked as a civil engineer. Grateful. For everything. Constantly. In a way that made me feel generous, just by existing near him. Kind to everyone, always, even when they didn't deserve it. And he looked at me like I was extraordinary. "You don't see it," he told me once, early on. "How easy everything is for you. You were born here. You can just be. You don't know what a gift that is." He was right. I didn't know. I'd never thought about my citizenship as anything other than an accident of birth. But the way Mateo talked about America, like it was a lover who wouldn't commit, like it was everything he'd ever wanted just out of reach, it made me see my own life differently. It made me feel important. We dated for a year. He met my parents in Tampa. They loved him immediately. My dad kept saying, "That's a good man. He's going places." My mom pulled me aside. "Don't let that one go." I didn't plan to. When Mateo proposed, a simple ring, nothing fancy, at the same park where we'd had our first real date, I said yes without hesitation. But there was something else, something I didn't examine too closely at the time. A part of me liked being his savior. Marriage to a citizen would give him a path to permanent residency, eventually citizenship. I wasn't just his wife, I was his lifeline. "I can't believe you're doing this for me," he said the night I agreed to sponsor him. "I love you," I told him. "This is what love is." I believed it then. I want you to know that. I believed I was doing something noble. We got married at the courthouse with just a few friends. Mateo wore his best suit, the one he'd worn to job interviews, the one he kept pristine. He cried during the vows. I cried too, though I remember being slightly embarrassed by how emotional he was. That should have been a sign. His emotion versus my embarrassment. The immigration process started immediately. We submitted our I-130 petition, the I-485 adjustment of status, the I-765 work permit application, letters from friends attesting to our relationship, joint bank account statements, photos from our wedding, our dates, our life together. Mateo was meticulous about it all. He kept everything in color-coded binders. He set calendar reminders for every deadline, every biometrics appointment, every interview. I found it exhausting. "Babe, you have to sign this," he'd say, bringing me forms while I was watching TV. "Can it wait?" "The deadline is tomorrow." I'd sigh, put down my wine, scribble my signature. "There, done." He'd look at the form, making sure I'd signed in the right place, checking that the date was correct. "Thank you," he'd say quietly. "It's fine," I'd tell him, already turning back to the TV. What I didn't say, "I'm tired of this. I'm tired of your anxiety, your constant vigilance, your terror that one small mistake will ruin everything. I'm tired of being married to someone who treats his life like a bomb that could detonate at any moment." We got his work permit, then his green card. The interview was straightforward. They asked us questions about our relationship, our life together. What side of the bed does your spouse sleep on? What's her coffee order? Where was your last vacation? Mateo knew every answer, down to the fact that I liked my coffee with oat milk specifically, not almond milk, because I'd read an article about sustainability. The officer approved us on the spot. Mateo sobbed in the parking lot. "It's real," he kept saying. "It's real. I'm going to be safe." I hugged him, stroked his hair, told him I was happy for him, for us. But I was thinking, this is only step one. We still have 3 years until he can apply for citizenship. 3 more years of this anxiety, this paperwork, this constant fear. I didn't know if I could do it. We should have been happy after that. Mateo had his green card. He was legal. He could travel. We took a trip to Mexico so he could see his mother for the first time in 21 years. I'd never seen someone cry like that. The way he fell into her arms at the airport in Guadalajara. His mother held my hands. "Thank you for saving my son," she said in Spanish. Mateo translated, though I understood enough. "Of course," I said. "I love him." She looked at me with such gratitude, such relief, like I was a saint. Like I'd done something extraordinary instead of just marrying someone I was supposed to love anyway. But marriage, I was learning, is boring. The day-to-day of it, the routine of it. Mateo worked long hours. He was saving money for the citizenship application, for the lawyer fees we knew were coming. He'd come home tired, stressed about work, stressed about money, stressed about the news every time immigration policy was debated. "They can still take it away," he'd say, watching CNN with his jaw tight. "If they cancel DACA retroactively, if they change the green card rules, they won't," I'd tell him. "You don't know that." He was right. I didn't. But I also didn't want to live my life in constant fear of hypotheticals. I started staying late at work. Not because I needed to. I'm an HR manager at a tech startup. And honestly, most of my job could be done in 4 hours a day. But the office was quieter than home, less heavy. I started going out with coworkers more. Happy hours, weekend brunches. Mateo never complained. "Have fun," he'd say, kissing me goodbye. "You deserve it." I told myself we just needed space. That every marriage goes through phases. That the passion would come back once he felt secure. Once the immigration stress was over. I told myself a lot of things. 2 years into our marriage, Mateo decided it was time to apply for citizenship. He'd had his green card for long enough. 3 years as a spouse of a citizen instead of the usual 5. He'd saved $8,000 for the application fee and legal costs. "I want to do this right," he said. "I want to hire a lawyer." "You don't need a lawyer," I told him. "You can file yourself. Save the money." But he shook his head. "This is too important. One mistake, one wrong answer, and they could deny me." Or worse, they could question my green card, audit our marriage. Our marriage is fine, I said. He looked at me then, something uncertain in his eyes. Is it? Of course, I said quickly, too quickly. I just meant, you're being paranoid, but if you want a lawyer, get a lawyer. He researched for weeks, read reviews, compared rates, called offices. Finally settled on Richard Kessler, an immigration attorney with offices in Coral Gables. High success rate, specialized in naturalization cases, expensive but supposedly worth it. The initial consultation was $500. Mateo booked it immediately. Will you come with me? He asked. To meet the lawyer? Babe, you don't need me there. I want you there, he said quietly. So I went. That's how I met Richard. Richard's office was exactly what you'd expect. Leather chairs, framed diplomas, a view of Biscuit Bay. He was in his late 30s, fit in that way that meant expensive gym memberships, wearing a suit that probably cost more than Mateo's entire wardrobe. Mateo, he said, shaking my husband's hand. And you must be Chloe, the woman who made all this possible. He held my hand a second longer than necessary. His eyes met mine. Blue, calculating, amused. I felt something then. Not attraction exactly. More like recognition. Like he saw something in me that I'd been trying to hide. Mateo didn't notice. He was already pulling out his binders, his organized documents, his timeline of every step he'd taken. Richard was impressed. You've done your homework. This should be straightforward. The application, biometrics, interview. I'd estimate 6 to 8 months until your ceremony. 6 to 8 months, Mateo repeated, like he was afraid to believe it, barring any complications. Richard leaned back in his chair. My fee for a naturalization case like yours is $25,000. That includes the application, prep for your interview, any follow-up if USCIS requests additional evidence, and representation at your ceremony if needed. I saw Mateo's face go pale. That's more than I expected. I'm not the cheapest option, Richard said smoothly, but I have a 98% success rate. This isn't something you want to gamble on. Mateo looked at me. I could see him doing the math, panicking, trying to figure out how we'd afford it. We'll make it work, I said. Richard smiled. Excellent. I'll have my assistant draw up the engagement letter. As we left, Mateo was quiet. In the car, he said, I'll pick up extra shifts, weekends. I can do consulting work on the side. Mateo, this is important. This is everything. He looked at me. I'm going to be a citizen, Chloe. Finally. Really. I'm going to be able to vote. I can get a passport. I can travel without fear. His voice broke. I can finally breathe. I should have felt his joy, his hope. Instead, I felt tired. Richard called me 2 days later. My cell phone, not the number on Mateo's forms. Chloe, it's Richard Kessler. I wanted to touch base about some additional documents I'll need from you. Couldn't you email them? I asked. I could, but I thought you might want to drop by the office. Some of them need notarization, and I have a notary on staff. Something in his tone, not quite professional. When? Whenever works for you. Tomorrow? Say 5:30? Most of my staff will be gone, so we won't have to wait. I told myself it was about convenience. I told myself I was doing it for Mateo, to keep things moving smoothly. I went. The office was mostly empty when I arrived. Richard met me in the lobby himself, no receptionist in sight. Thanks for coming, he said. I know this process is a lot. It's fine. He led me to his office, closed the door, laid out several forms that needed my signature, affidavits of support, proof of joint assets, a letter attesting to Mateo's good moral character. You'll need to sign here, here, and here, he said, leaning close as he showed me where to initial. I could smell his cologne, expensive, subtle. I signed. He notarized. It took 10 minutes. All set, he said. Though, what? Can I ask you something personal? I should have said no. I should have left. Okay. Are you happy? The question stunned me. What? In your marriage. Are you happy? He wasn't smiling now. He was watching me with those calculating eyes. That's inappropriate, I said. Is it? I've been doing this a long time, Chloe. I can spot a marriage of convenience. It's not. We're not. I'm not judging. Lots of couples stay together for immigration purposes. It's smart, really. But I see the way you look when he talks. You're somewhere else. My face went hot. You don't know anything about me. Maybe not. But I know you came here at 5:30 on a Thursday instead of emailing me documents. I know you're still sitting in my office even though I basically just insulted your marriage. And I know you're wondering what it would feel like to be with someone who doesn't need you to save him. I stood up. I should go. You should, he agreed. But you won't. He was right. I didn't sleep with Richard that day. But that's when everything changed between us. He started texting me. About the case, at first. Mateo's biometrics appointment is scheduled. I need another document. Good news on the processing timeline. Always with some excuse to communicate directly with me instead of Mateo. Then the messages got more personal. How was your day? What are you doing this weekend? Have you tried that new place in Wynwood? You'd love it. I should have told Mateo. I should have blocked Richard's number. I should have insisted we find a different lawyer. Instead, I texted back. It felt good. That's the ugly truth. It felt good to have someone pay attention to me, to flirt with me, to see me as something other than Mateo's wife, or Mateo's sponsor, or Mateo's salvation. Richard didn't need me. He was successful, confident, self-sufficient. When we talked, it wasn't about immigration policy or green card renewal dates or whether it was safe to travel. It was about restaurants and movies and weekend plans and the banality of our jobs. It was easy. Mateo was at home working on a project proposal, stressed about deadlines, barely noticing when I walked in late from drinks with Sarah. How was your night? He'd asked, distracted. Fine. Good. That's good. He turned back to his laptop, his forehead creased with concentration, and I'd go to bed alone while he worked until 2 a.m. I told myself he was the one creating distance. I told myself I was just responding to neglect. I told myself a lot of things. 3 months into Mateo's case, Richard invited me to lunch. To discuss his interview prep, he said. We met at a cafe in Coconut Grove. We didn't discuss the interview. We talked about our lives, his divorce 2 years earlier, my frustration with my job, the ways we both felt stuck. You're too smart for HR, he said. You should be doing something more. Like what? I don't know. Something that challenges you, something that makes you feel alive. And what makes you feel alive? I asked. He smiled. Right now? This conversation. I knew what was happening. I knew exactly what was happening. When he paid for lunch, expense it to Mateo's case, he joked, and suggested we grab coffee at his condo nearby. I said yes. That's when the line was crossed. I can't tell you it was a mistake, a one-time thing, something that happened in a moment of weakness. It wasn't. It was a choice I made over and over for nearly a year. We were careful. Richard's condo in Brickell, always during the day when Mateo was at work, never in public where someone might see us. He'd text me when he was free. I'd tell Mateo I had a work emergency or a friend needed me, or I was running errands. Mateo never questioned it. He trusted me completely. That was the worst part. Not the lying, I was getting good at that, but the trust. The way he'd kiss me goodbye without suspicion. The way he'd thank me for being understanding about his long hours. The way he'd apologize for being stressed and distracted. I know I haven't been the best husband lately, he said one night, about 6 months into the affair. Once this is done, once I'm a citizen, I promise it'll be different. We can go on a real honeymoon. We can start planning for the future. What future? I asked. Kids, maybe? A house? I know we've put everything on hold, but after the ceremony, he smiled, hopeful, exhausted. After the ceremony, we can finally live. I felt something twist in my chest. Yeah, after the ceremony. He pulled me close. I love you so much. You saved my life, you know that? I know, I whispered. That night, after he fell asleep, I went to the bathroom and stared at myself in the mirror. I didn't recognize the woman looking back. Or maybe I did, and that was worse. I picked up my phone, texted Richard. Can I come over tomorrow? He responded in seconds. Always. The affair wasn't passionate, not in the way movies make it seem. It was convenient. It was escape. Richard was fun, easy, uncomplicated. He didn't need anything from me except someone to sleep with a couple times a week. "You know this isn't serious, right?" he said once, lying in his bed, boats bobbing in the marina below. "What do you mean?" "I mean, I like you, but I'm not looking for a relationship. I'm not the guy who's going to leave my life for someone else's wife." "I know that," I said. Though I hadn't, not exactly. Some part of me had been building a fantasy. That maybe when Mateo got his citizenship, when the marriage had served its purpose, I could leave. Richard and I could be something real. But he just told me the truth. I was just a good time to him. An affair. Nothing more. I should have ended it then. I didn't. 7 months into Mateo's case, USCIS scheduled his citizenship interview. Richard called him personally with the news. 4 weeks from today, I heard him tell Mateo over speakerphone, "We'll prep thoroughly. I'll send you a list of study materials, 100 civics questions, English test practice. You'll do great." Mateo was euphoric. He immediately ordered study guides, downloaded practice apps, started drilling himself on American history and government. "What's the supreme law of the land?" he'd ask me at breakfast. "The Constitution," I'd mumble, barely awake. "What do the first 10 amendments guarantee?" "Mateo, it's 6 a.m. Sorry, I just want to be ready." He studied for hours every night. On weekends, Richard scheduled prep sessions at his office, going through potential questions, practicing the oath, reviewing Mateo's application for any red flags. I went to one of those sessions, sat there watching Richard coach my husband, watching him charge $400 an hour to help the man whose wife he was sleeping with. "You're going to pass with flying colors," Richard told Mateo. "I've never seen someone so prepared." "I can't fail," Mateo said quietly. "This is everything." Richard clapped him on the shoulder. "You won't fail. Trust me." After Mateo left to use the bathroom, Richard looked at me. "Still on for Thursday?" I nodded. He smiled. That's who we were. That's who I'd become. The interview was on a Tuesday morning. Mateo barely slept the night before. I heard him in the living room at 3 a.m. reviewing materials, pacing. "Come back to bed," I called. "I can't. What if I forget something? What if I mess up?" "You won't." But he didn't come back to bed. When my alarm went off at 6, he was ironing his shirt for the 3rd time, making sure it was perfect. I took the morning off work to go with him. The interview was at the USCIS office in Miami, a government building that looked like every government building. Beige, fluorescent, soul-crushing. We waited in a crowded room with other applicants and their families. Everyone looked nervous. Mateo's leg bounced up and down, up and down. I put my hand on his knee. "You've got this," I said. "What if they ask about our marriage? What if they think it's fraud?" "It's not fraud." "But what if they—" "Mateo." I made him look at me. "You're going to be fine. I promise." When they called his name, he stood up so fast he nearly tripped. He looked back at me, terrified. I gave him a thumbs up. He disappeared through a security door. 45 minutes later, he came out. I couldn't read his face at first, and my heart stopped. Had something gone wrong? Then he smiled, bigger than I'd ever seen. "I passed," he said. "They approved me. The ceremony is in 6 weeks." I hugged him. Everyone in the waiting room was watching. Some people even applauded. An older woman said, "Congratulations, honey." Mateo was shaking. 6 weeks. 6 weeks, and I'm a citizen. A real American. "You've always been a real American," I told him. He kissed me, right there in the federal building, and I kissed him back. And I felt a strange cocktail of emotions. Pride and guilt and relief and shame all mixed together until I couldn't tell them apart. In the parking lot, he called his mother on WhatsApp video. She cried. He cried. She said a prayer in Spanish, thanking God, thanking me. "Your wife is an angel," she told him. "I know," he said, looking at me. "I'm the luckiest man alive." I smiled. I said all the right things. I told him I was proud of him. Then I texted Richard. He passed. Ceremony in 6 weeks. Richard replied, "Perfect. Dinner tonight? To celebrate?" I told Mateo I had a work thing. He barely heard me. He was already calling friends, sharing the news, floating on pure joy. I went to Richard's condo and we drank champagne and I tried not to think about what I was doing. 6 weeks. That's all I had to hold it together. Mateo immediately started planning for the ceremony. He bought a new suit, navy blue, fitted perfectly. He told his boss he needed the day off. He sent his mother the Zoom link so she could watch remotely from Guadalajara. I want you to film it, he told me. I want to remember every second. Of course, I said. He started planning a party for after, renting a space, inviting everyone we knew, his boss, his coworkers, people from the community center where he volunteered teaching English to immigrants. You don't have to go crazy, I told him. It's just a ceremony. He looked at me like I'd slapped him. Just a ceremony? Chloe, this is the most important day of my life. This is everything I've worked for. Everything we've worked for. You're right. I'm sorry. I just meant, don't stress yourself out. But he didn't hear that as concern. He heard it as indifference. Sometimes I feel like you don't understand, he said quietly. What this means to me. I understand, I said. But I didn't. Not really. I couldn't. My citizenship was an accident of geography. His was the culmination of 10 years of anxiety, sacrifice, and fear. That night, while he revised the party menu, I met Richard at a hotel in South Beach. Different location, less risky with the ceremony approaching. How's the future citizen? Richard asked, pouring me wine. Excited. Nervous. He should be excited. He's beaten some very long odds. Thanks to you, I said. Though there was an edge to my voice I didn't expect. Richard caught it. What? Nothing. It's just, you're charging him $25,000 to do a job that probably takes you 20 hours of actual work. And you're sleeping with his wife. It feels like what? I didn't answer. I didn't know how to finish that sentence. Richard set down his glass. Let's be very clear about something. I'm excellent at my job. Mateo's case was smooth because I made it smooth. I've earned every penny he's paying me. And what's happening between us? That's separate. That's between you and me. He never has to know. And after the ceremony? What about it? Are we still doing this? He looked at me like I'd asked a stupid question. Do you want to keep doing this? I don't know. Well, let me know when you figure it out. He stood up, went to the window. Look, Chloe, I like you, but I'm not going to make promises about some future together. You're married. I'm not interested in being anyone's husband. If that's not enough for you, we should probably stop now. I should have stopped. I should have gone home, confessed everything, begged Mateo for forgiveness. Instead, I stayed. The week before the ceremony, Mateo sold his car. I came home from work, actually from work for once, and noticed the driveway was empty. Where's your car? I asked. Sold it. He said it casually, like it was nothing. What? Why? I need to finish paying Richard. I'm about $3,000 short. The buyer gave me cash. I stared at him. Mateo, you need a car. I can take the bus. It's fine. This is more important. He smiled. Once I'm working with my citizenship, I can get a better job, save up, buy something nicer. You love that car. He shrugged. It's just a car. This is my life, my future. He'd sold his car, a used Honda Civic he'd bought himself after saving for 2 years, to pay the lawyer who was sleeping with his wife. I excused myself, went to the bathroom, and threw up. 2 days before the ceremony, I was at Richard's place when I realized I'd left my work badge in his bedroom. I'd need it for the office the next day. I'll grab it later, Richard said. We were watching TV, his arm around me, comfortable and casual and wrong. I need it tomorrow morning. I'll just get it now. I went to the bedroom and found the badge on his nightstand. Next to it was a bill. His invoice for Mateo's case. I picked it up without thinking. Professional services rendered. Itemized hours. Total. $25,000. But that wasn't what made me feel sick. What made me feel sick was the line at the bottom. Payment received in full. Case closed. Case closed. Like Mateo was just another file. Just another transaction. I thought about Mateo selling his car to make this final payment. I thought about the 10 years he'd spent in limbo, terrified. I thought about the way he studied every night. the way he ironed his shirt 3 times, the way he talked about citizenship like it was oxygen. And I thought about Richard charging him every penny while sleeping with me in this condo with its view of the bay. "You okay?" Richard called from the living room. "Fine," I said. I wasn't fine. The night before the ceremony, Mateo couldn't sleep again. I found him at 2 a.m., sitting on the couch with his certificate folder, reading through all his documents like they might disappear. "Come to bed," I said. "I'm too excited. I can't." He looked up at me, his eyes shining. "Tomorrow, Chloe. Tomorrow I'm going to stand in that building and take the oath. I'm going to swear loyalty to this country. And then I'll finally be safe, really safe. No one can send me away. No one can tell me I don't belong. I'll finally be home." He pulled me down next to him. "Thank you for everything. For sponsoring me. For supporting me through this. For being patient with all my anxiety. I know it hasn't been easy being married to someone who's been terrified for 10 years. But it's over now. After tomorrow, we can start our real life together." I thought about where I was supposed to be tomorrow at 10 a.m. I thought about the Zoom link waiting in his mother's inbox. I thought about the empty chair next to him in the federal building. "I love you," I said. Because in that moment, I think I did. Or I remembered how much I used to. Or I mourned the person I'd been when I met him, before I became this. "I love you too," he said. "You're everything to me." We went to bed. He fell asleep, holding my hand, finally calm, finally peaceful. I lay awake until dawn. The morning of the ceremony, Mateo was up at 6. I heard him in the bathroom, showering, singing softly in Spanish. When he came out, he was already in his new suit, his hair combed perfectly, his shoes shined. He looked so young, so hopeful. "How do I look?" he asked. "Perfect," I told him. "You look perfect." He kissed me. I can't believe this is real. I keep thinking I'm going to wake up and it'll be 2012 again, waiting to hear if DACA was approved, terrified I'd be deported. "It's real," I said. "You made it." "We made it." He touched my face. "I'll see you there, okay? 10 a.m. Don't be late. I want to see your face when I take the oath." "I'll be there," I said. He left at 8:30. He wanted to be early to make sure he had the right building, the right room, the right seat. He was still scared something would go wrong, that this miracle would be snatched away at the last second. I watched him drive away, in his friend's borrowed car, since he'd sold his own, and I told myself I was going to get dressed, get in my car, and go to that ceremony. I told myself that right up until my phone buzzed. "Richard, brunch at my place? I have mimosas and nothing to do." I looked at the text for a long time. I looked at the time, 9:15 a.m. I looked at myself in the mirror, already showered, already dressed for the ceremony, my purse packed with my phone to film every moment. I made a choice. I told myself it would be quick, just an hour. I'd go to Richard's for breakfast, leave by 9:45, still make it to the ceremony by 10. I told myself Mateo would never know. I told myself a lot of things. Richard's condo was 15 minutes away. I was there by 9:30. He'd made eggs Benedict, squeezed fresh orange juice, had champagne chilling. "This is fancy," I said, "celebrating your husband's big day." He said it without irony, which somehow made it worse. We ate on the balcony. We talked about nothing. Work gossip, weekend plans, a Netflix show he'd started. It was easy and comfortable, and I didn't think about the time. Until my phone buzzed at 10:03. Calendar reminder, Mateo's citizenship ceremony, 10 a.m., USCIS field office. "Shit," I said. "What?" I looked at the time. Looked at the traffic app. 25 minutes to the federal building in morning traffic. Plus parking, plus security screening. "I have to go," I said. "Now?" I was supposed to... I couldn't finish the sentence. Richard realized. "The ceremony. It's today. Right now." I thought I had time. I thought I could... "Go," he said. "Drive fast." But we both knew I wouldn't make it. The oath ceremony started exactly at 10. By the time I got there, parked, got through security, it would be over. I'd missed it. I picked up my phone with shaking hands and texted, "Stuck at work. So sorry. Send pics." Three dots appeared immediately. Then the photo, Mateo in his suit, holding his certificate, an American flag, his eyes red from crying, other families around him celebrating, an empty chair where I should have been. Then, I wish you could have been here, but I understand. Love you. I stared at that message, at his understanding, at his assumption that I had a good reason, that of course I'd be there if I could. Richard was watching me. He doesn't know, he said. No. Are you going to tell him? I don't know. We sat in silence. Somewhere across the city, Mateo was becoming an American citizen, achieving his dream, the culmination of 10 years of fear and work and sacrifice. And I was here. Why did you stay? Richard asked quietly. You knew what time the ceremony was. I don't know, I said. But that was a lie. I knew exactly why. Because some part of me wanted to miss it. Some part of me was tired of Mateo's anxiety, his neediness, his constant gratitude. Some part of me wanted to choose something that was mine, even if it meant hurting him. Some part of me wanted to see if I could live with myself after. I didn't go to the ceremony. I stayed at Richard's until noon, then went home and pretended I'd been at the office all morning dealing with a crisis. Mateo came home at 3 p.m., glowing. He'd gone to lunch with friends, celebrated, called relatives. He showed me his certificate, his flag, the photos other people had taken. I'm sorry I missed it, I said. There was this situation with an employee. It's okay. I know you wanted to be there. He hugged me. But you're here now. That's what matters. We went to dinner with friends. Everyone congratulated him. He kept showing his certificate to the server, to people at other tables, to anyone who would look. I'm an American, he kept saying. I'm really an American. I smiled. I took photos. I posted on social media, so proud of my husband. And people commented, heart emojis, and congratulations. No one knew where I'd actually been. Not even when Mateo noticed something in our car the next day. What's this? He asked, holding up a watch. Silver. Expensive. A tag here. My blood went cold. I don't know. Where'd you find it? Under the passenger seat. Is it yours? No. Weird. He examined it. It's nice. Must have been in there when I borrowed the car. But we both knew that didn't make sense. He'd borrowed his friend Mike's car that morning. This watch wasn't Mike's style. Maybe it's from before that, I suggested. Maybe. But he was still looking at it, confused. I knew that watch. I'd seen Richard wear it dozens of times. Had watched him set it on the nightstand when I'll ask Mike, Mateo said. Good idea. He called Mike. Mike had no idea about any watch. That's so strange, Mateo said, setting it on the counter. I guess it's just been in there forever. Someone must have left it months ago. But I could see him thinking, wondering. A small seed of doubt planted. That night, Richard texted, Did I leave my watch in your car? Yes. Mateo found it. Shit. Did he? He thinks it's been there forever. But Richard, we need to stop this. It's too risky. Okay. Just, okay. Like I'd suggested, we stop getting coffee together. Not that I was ending a year-long affair. I waited for him to say more, to protest, to convince me to keep going. He didn't. Okay, I typed back. And that should have been it. But Mateo was different after the ceremony. Lighter, happier, more present. He came home from work early, wanted to go on dates, started planning a vacation. I can travel anywhere now. Where should we go? He talked about buying a house, about starting a family, about all the futures he'd been afraid to dream about before. We could have a kid, he said one night, lying in bed. And they'd be born here, automatically citizens. They'd never have to go through what I went through. They'd never be afraid. That's a big step, I said. I know, but I'm ready. I'm finally stable. We're stable. He turned to me. Aren't we? Of course, I said automatically. But he heard something in my voice. Chloe, are you happy? That question again? The same one Richard had asked a year ago. Yes, I lied, because you've seemed distant lately. For a while now, actually. And I know I've been stressed, focused on the citizenship thing, but that's over now. We can focus on us. I know. So talk to me. What's going on? I could have told him then. Could have confessed, apologized, tried to salvage something. Instead, I said, I'm just tired. Work has been a lot. Then quit, he said simply. Find something better. You're too talented to be stressed all the time. We can afford it now. My salary is good, and with citizenship, I can apply for those federal contracts I couldn't before. He was trying so hard, being so kind, so understanding. It made me feel worse. 2 weeks after the ceremony, Richard texted me. Drink? I told myself I was just meeting a friend for a drink. I told myself we'd ended things. This was just tying up loose ends. I met him at a bar in Brickell. How's married life? He asked, amused. Don't. Come on. Now that he's legal, you can leave guilt-free. You did your duty. Is that what you think this is? He shrugged. Isn't it? You stayed long enough to get him citizenship. Now you're free. I'm not leaving him. Why not? You're not happy. You don't know that. Chloe. He leaned forward. I know you. You're miserable. You've been miserable. The only time you're not miserable is when you're with me. That's not true. Then why are you here? I didn't have an answer. We left together. Went back to his place. I told myself it was the last time. It wasn't. For another month, I kept up the double life. Mateo at home, happy and hopeful. Richard when I needed to escape. But the lies were getting harder. The excuses thinner. Where were you? Mateo asked one evening when I came home late. Work event. On a Sunday? Team building thing. He didn't say anything, just nodded. But I could see the doubt accumulating. Little pieces that didn't quite fit. Then one day, he picked up my phone to check the weather. His was dead. And a text from Richard came through. Can't wait to see you Thursday. Mateo stared at the screen. Who's Richard? My heart stopped. The lawyer? Why is he texting you? He probably meant to text you. About your case. My case is closed. Follow-up stuff, making sure everything's finalized. Mateo looked at me. Really looked at me. Chloe, is something going on? No, of course not. Because I've been feeling like something's wrong. Like you're somewhere else. And now, there's this text. And the watch in the car. And all the times you've been at work, or with Sarah. And I just... His voice broke. Please tell me I'm being paranoid. Please tell me I'm making this up. I could have told the truth. It would have destroyed him, but at least it would have been honest. Instead, I said, you're being paranoid. There's nothing going on. I love you. He wanted to believe me. I could see it. He wanted so badly for this new life, this new citizenship, this new future to be perfect. Okay, he said quietly. Okay, I'm sorry. I've just been anxious. Old habits. It's fine, I said. He hugged me. I hugged him back. And I felt nothing except relief that I hadn't been caught. I lasted another week before the guilt became unbearable. Not guilty enough to stop, but guilty enough that I couldn't look at Mateo without feeling sick. I told Richard we had to end it for real this time. Okay, he said. Again, just okay. No fight. That's it? Just okay? What do you want me to say, Chloe? That I love you? That I can't live without you? We've been fucking for a year. It's been fun. But I was always clear about what this was. Right, what it was. You're the one who's married. You made that choice long before you met me. If you want to leave him, leave him. But don't make this about us. There is no us. He was right. I'd built a fantasy in my head that Richard was different, special, that what we had meant something. But to him, I was just another affair. Just another bored wife. I should go, I said. Probably. I left. Drove home. Walked into my house where Mateo was making dinner. Humming. Happy. Hey, babe, he said, kissing me. I made your favorite. That night, we had sex for the first time in months. Mateo was sweet, attentive, loving. Afterward, he held me and said, I love you so much. I'm so lucky. I stared at the ceiling and thought about Richard's condo, the view of the bay, the way he'd said, there is no us, like I was stupid for thinking otherwise. I thought about the year I'd spent lying, the ceremony I'd missed, the watch in the car, the text message. All the small betrayals adding up to something massive. And I realized I destroyed my marriage for something that never existed. The end came 2 days later, in the most mundane way. Mateo's friend Carlos called the house line. Mateo's cell was off. I answered. Hey, Chloe, is Mateo around? He's in the shower. Want me to have him call you? Yeah. Hey, random question. Is that guy you were with at Brickell Landing last week your brother or something? My blood went cold. What? Last Thursday, I saw you with some guy coming out of the towers. Tall, expensive suit? I waved, but you didn't see me. Figured maybe it was your brother visiting? I don't have a brother. Carlos knew that. Work thing, I said quickly. Client meeting. At a residential building? Yeah, he was. It's complicated. I'll have Mateo call you. I hung up. Stood in the kitchen, my hands shaking. Mateo came out in his towel. Who was that? Carlos. He wants you to call him. Okay. He went to get his phone. I waited. Heard him dial, heard him say, Hey man, what's up? Then silence. Then, what guy? More silence. When? I walked into the bedroom. Mateo was sitting on the bed, phone to his ear, his face white. He looked up at me. Carlos saw you, last week, with a man, coming out of a residential building in Brickell. It was a work thing, I said. What building? I don't remember. What building, Chloe? I don't. The towers at Brickell. That's what Carlos said. Do you know anyone who lives there? I didn't answer. Do you? Mateo, yes or no? Do you know anyone who lives in that building? I could have kept lying. Could have made up something, gaslit him, bought myself more time. Instead, I said, Richard lives there. The words hung in the air. Richard, Mateo repeated slowly. The lawyer. Our lawyer. Yes. You were at his apartment. Yes. Why? It wasn't a question. It was a demand. I'm sorry, I whispered. I watched his face change. Watched him understand. Watched 10 years of trust shatter in real time. How long? He said. Mateo. How long? I'd never heard him yell before. Not once in 5 years. A year, I said. About a year. He stood up like he'd been hit. A year. You've been sleeping with my lawyer for a year. I'm so sorry. The ceremony. His voice broke. You missed my citizenship ceremony because you were with him. No. Don't lie to me anymore. Please. Don't lie. He was crying now. Where were you that morning? When I was taking my oath? When I called you excited? When I was looking for you in the crowd? I couldn't answer. Tell me, he said. I need to hear you say it. I was at his apartment. Mateo made a sound like he'd been punched. He sat down hard on the bed, his head in his hands. You missed the most important day of my life, he said quietly. The thing I've worked toward for 10 years. The thing that determined whether I could stay in this country, and you were with him. I'm sorry. I sold my car, he said. I sold my car to pay him. Worked double shifts, weekend consulting. I gave him $25,000, and the whole time he was, and you were. He looked up at me with such devastation that I had to look away. Did he know? Mateo asked. Did he know we were married when you started? Yes. And he still charged me, full price, for everything. He laughed, a horrible sound. I paid him to fuck my wife. Mateo, please, get out. What? Get out of this house. Right now. Get out. Can we please talk? There's nothing to talk about. His voice was steady now, cold. You made your choice. For a year, you made your choice every day. So now, I'm making mine. Get out. This is my house, too. I don't care. Get a hotel. Go to Richard's. Go anywhere. But you can't be here. I can't. His voice broke again. I can't look at you right now. I grabbed my purse, my keys. At the door, I turned back. I'm so sorry. Sorry for what? He asked. For doing it or for getting caught? I didn't have an answer. I went to a hotel that night. Sent Mateo texts that went unread. Called him. He'd blocked my number. I texted Richard. He knows. No response. I called. It went to voicemail. I drove to his apartment. The doorman wouldn't let me up. Mr. Kessler said he's not accepting visitors. the doorman said politely. Can you just tell him I'm here, please? The doorman called up, shook his head. I'm sorry, ma'am. He's not available. So that was it. A year of my life, my marriage destroyed, and Richard wouldn't even see me. I sat in my car in his parking garage and cried until security asked me to leave. The next day, Mateo's lawyer, not Richard, a different lawyer, sent me divorce papers. Irreconcilable differences. No contest. He was giving me my stuff, keeping his, splitting assets down the middle. There was a note. Please don't contact me. Everything goes through my attorney. I tried anyway. Showed up at the house, he'd changed the locks. Tried his office, his assistant said he'd taken personal leave. I called his friends. They were kind but firm. He doesn't want to talk to you, Chloe. I'd been erased. Within a week, I learned through mutual friends that Mateo had reported Richard to the Florida bar. Ethics violation. Having a sexual relationship with a client's spouse during active representation. Apparently, that's a big deal. Conflict of interest, breach of fiduciary duty, moral turpitude. Richard was suspended pending investigation. His firm put him on leave. He texted me for the first time since the discovery. Thanks a lot. My career is fucking destroyed. I didn't respond. What could I say? I tried to go back to work, but everyone knew. Someone, probably Carlos, had told people. I got sideways looks, whispered conversations that stopped when I entered rooms. My friend Sarah, who I'd used as an alibi dozens of times, confronted me in the bathroom. Is it true? She asked. Yes. Jesus, Chloe. Mateo's citizenship ceremony? You missed that? I know. What were you thinking? I don't know. She looked at me with something like pity. I can't be your friend right now. I'm sorry, but I can't. One by one, people distanced themselves. Not dramatically, just slow fades, unreturned texts. I'm busy, responses to invitations I stopped making. I was alone. The divorce was finalized 3 months later. Quick, clean, no drama. I moved into a smaller apartment, sold most of our furniture. I couldn't stand looking at it. Started over with IKEA basics and nothing on the walls. My days were work, home, TV, sleep. Weekends were the worst. I'd scroll social media and see other people's happy lives and feel nothing. I thought about calling Richard once. My finger hovered over his name in my phone. What would I even say? He'd made it clear what I was to him. A good time that turned into a career problem. I didn't call. 6 months after the divorce, I saw Mateo. I was at a restaurant in Coral Gables with coworkers, mandatory team dinner I couldn't skip. He walked in with a woman. Pretty. Younger. Laughing at something he said. He looked different. Not in his appearance. He looked the same, maybe happier, lighter somehow. But he was different. The anxiety that used to radiate off him was gone. He moved through the world like he belonged there, because he did. He was a citizen. He was safe. He'd survived me. He saw me. Our eyes met. I waited for anger, pain, something. He nodded once, polite like you'd nod at a stranger, and turned back to his date. That was it. No drama, no scene, just indifference. I excused myself from dinner and cried in the bathroom. I learned more through the social media glimpses I allowed myself, through the friends I still had who'd stayed neutral. Mateo got promoted at work, applied for those federal contracts he'd mentioned, got them, made significantly more money, bought a house, nothing huge, but his, paid for with his work, sponsored his mother. She got her green card, moved to Miami, lived with him for a while before getting her own place nearby. Started dating someone seriously. The woman from the restaurant. Her name was Anna. She was a teacher. They looked happy in photos, casual and easy. A year after our divorce, I saw his engagement announcement. Simple post. She said yes. I'm the luckiest man alive. The same words he'd said to me once. I typed congratulations in the comments box. Stared at it for 5 minutes. Deleted it without posting. Richard's career never recovered. The bar suspended his license for 2 years. His firm let him go. Last I heard, he was doing contract legal work, Nothing prestigious. He tried to contact me once, about a year after everything fell apart. Coffee? I didn't respond. What was left to say? I destroyed my marriage for him. He'd risked his career for me. Neither of us had won anything. 2 years after the divorce, I'm sitting in my apartment alone. It's a Saturday night. I'm 29, single, watching Netflix shows I don't care about. My phone has 3 contacts I actually talk to. My mom, my sister, one coworker who doesn't know the full story. I tried dating. It didn't work. First date question is always, so why did your marriage end? I can't tell the truth. The lies I tell make me seem either like a victim or a villain, and neither feels right because I'm both and neither. Mostly I don't date. It's easier. Sometimes I think about what Mateo said that day. Sorry for what? For doing it or for getting caught? I've spent 2 years trying to figure out the answer. I'm sorry I got caught, obviously. My life would be easier if I hadn't. I'd still have my marriage, my friends, my comfortable life. Richard and I would have probably fizzled out eventually, and no one would have known. But am I sorry I did it? I don't know. I wanted something for myself. Something that wasn't about saving someone, being someone's hero, carrying someone's stress. I wanted to feel wanted without owing something in return. Richard gave me that. For a year, I had something that was just mine. Except it wasn't mine. It was stolen. From Mateo, from our marriage, from the life we were supposed to build. And what did I get for it? A year of hotel rooms and afternoon sex, and the temporary feeling of being special. That's what I traded my marriage for. Some days I think I'd do it differently if I could go back. I'd be honest with Mateo, tell him I was unhappy, go to therapy, try to fix things before burning everything down. Other days I think I'd do exactly the same thing. Because that year with Richard, as shallow and wrong as it was the only time I felt like myself. Not someone's wife, not someone's savior, just me. I don't know which feeling is the truth. Last week, my sister sent me Mateo's wedding announcement. He and Anna got married, small ceremony, just family and close friends. The photo showed him in a suit, her in a simple white dress, both of them laughing. He looked free. Thought you should know, my sister texted. You okay? I'm fine, I lied. I looked at that photo for a long time. At the man I'd married, the man I'd betrayed, the man who'd survived me and built something better. I thought about his citizenship ceremony, the one I missed, the most important day of his life. The day he became safe, became American, became everything he'd worked for. And I was at Richard's condo, drinking mimosas, making choices I can't take back. Here's what I know now. What I've learned living with myself for 2 years. I didn't have an affair, because Mateo was a bad husband. He wasn't. He was kind, loving, devoted. He worked hard. He loved me deeply. I didn't have an affair because Richard was special. He wasn't. He was just convenient, available, and willing to tell me I deserved more. I had an affair because I was selfish. Because I wanted something easy when my life felt hard. Because I was tired of being the good person in the story. So I decided to be the villain instead. And the consequences of that choice aren't dramatic. There's no revenge, no violence, no public shaming. Just absence. Just the slow, quiet knowledge that I destroyed something real for something that never existed. Mateo is happy now. He's married to someone who shows up for him. His mother is here, safe, legal. He's successful, stable, free from the fear that defined 10 years of his life. He got everything he wanted, just without me. Richard is fine. Diminished professionally, but fine. He'll rebuild. He always does. And me? I'm here. In a small apartment with IKEA furniture and a social life that consists of mandatory work events and occasional calls with my mom. I'm 29. I should be planning a family, buying a house, building a life. Instead, I'm the woman who missed her husband's citizenship ceremony because she was sleeping with his lawyer. That's who I am. That's who I'll always be. People ask me sometimes if I regret it. The affair, the lies, the choices. I don't know how to answer that. Regret implies I wish I'd done something different. But I did what I wanted in the moment, every time. For a year, I made the choice to lie, to sneak around, to betray someone who trusted me completely. Those weren't mistakes. They were decisions. So I can't say I regret decisions I made fully conscious. What I can say is this. I destroyed a good person on the most important day of his life. I took $25,000 from him to pay the man I was sleeping with. I missed the moment he achieved his dream because I was too selfish to show up. That's who I am. I have to live with that knowledge forever. Mateo got his citizenship, his life, his happiness, just without me. And I got exactly what I chose. Nothing.